Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hello and welcome to Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. I'm Becky Parker Geist and I'm your host. Audiobook Connection is your place to learn about the audiobook creative process and for authors to learn valuable tips on producing and marketing your audiobooks. This podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Hi, thanks so much for joining me today. We're going to talk about strategies for your launch and where your audiobook fits in. Let's jump in. To set us up for this conversation, first of all, there are 2 basic strategies that most authors use. They either go one direction or the other. The first is to do a coordinated launch. And that's where, in preparation for the launch of your print and ebook editions, that you also have your audiobook already produced and ready to launch at the same time. The other approach is to launch by format. So it is a launch that is spread out over time, and usually in this case, the audiobook launch comes at the end of that sequence. But not necessarily. We'll cover the order of the launch and ways to think about that as we dive into that strategy. Let's start with the coordinated launch. This approach can work best, especially if you are planning a big launch with a shorter time frame. So the idea being that you're going to really put a lot of energy, maybe a lot of resources into this launch event time period. So a launch is obviously spread out over some time, but this would be a shorter time frame. Let's say that you're launching in the course of a particular month. When you have a lot of energy going into a shorter campaign, it makes a lot of sense to make sure that when you are grabbing the attention of your potential audience, that you have any format that they may want already available. So really, you're grabbing their attention, and then they get to choose whichever format works best for them. Many readers these days, and this number keeps growing, are audiobook readers or listeners. And so if you're doing this kind of heavy-duty approach to your launch, you definitely want to make sure that your audiobook is already produced and ready, especially in all the major audiobook retail platforms. Obviously, there are some advantages to this in that it can be hard to get people's attention in the first place. So when you do have that attention, you want to make sure that they're able to make the kind of purchase for the product that they would optimally choose. If they see that you have your print edition available, but they're not really into reading print, they're much more of an audiobook listener, then not having the audio means they have to wait. Now, that's not to say that they aren't willing to wait, but you may have some drop-off in terms of purchases if that format is not available when they are ready for it. Many authors will take this approach to do a more concentrated book launch time period, largely because they want to do this big push and then they want to get back to writing. Many times it is really because they have a commitment to their book and they want to get it out there, but they also don't want to be spending as much of their time and energy and resources on the marketing long term. So this is an approach. I'm not saying that it is a better approach. I'm also not saying that the other one that we'll talk about is necessarily better, but it is good to understand, like, what are the pros and cons and what kind of situation might you be in that would lean you more towards taking one approach versus the other. And what may be obvious, or maybe not, is that when you're doing this sort of big splash approach, that you're counting on reaching a lot of people at the front end and then hoping that the marketing will take off more quickly, more robustly with this big splash. Now, there are always going to be advantages to making a big splash, as there are advantages to keeping your marketing going on an ongoing basis. And we'll talk more about that when we talk about the other approach. This coordinated launch may also be of particular interest to you if you haven't launched yet, but you have all your formats ready to go, and you've, for whatever reason, have not done a launch yet. It may feel like it just makes more sense to do it all at once, and maybe it does. Let's take a short break, and we'll come back and talk about the other approach to launching your audiobook and other formats.
Looking for a marketing plan and the support to implement it? At Pro Audio Voices, we're here to help. The audiobook marketing program offers 3 levels of launch packages to meet your needs. Each 3-month program includes a custom marketing blueprint that is created through one-to-one strategy sessions with our marketing strategy team. You'll get access to the AMP membership portal with modules you can go through at your own pace, as well as a checklist to keep you on track. You'll also get a custom-built library of marketing assets, videos you can use in the places you'll be focusing on based on your marketing blueprint, a monthly coaching call, custom keywords and hashtags, your own direct sales landing page where you'll earn 70% of whatever price you said. And that's just the beginning. Visit audiobookmarketingprogram.com to learn more.
And we're back. Now let's talk about the sequential launch for your book and the many formats, whatever they may be. You may have ebook, paperback, hardcover, large print, any number of many special editions that are possible in the text version of your book. Let's talk now about how you might roll those out in a sequential way. First of all, I want to talk about the idea of doing audio first. This used to be easier. There used to be a way to sort of work around the obstacles put in our path by doing audio first, and there is still an option to do it. But first, let's address the challenge. When you're doing audio first, and I say audio first rather than audio only because audio only has an increased obstacle. However, there is also a solution for that I will share with you. Okay, so if you want to launch audio first, what you need to do in the retail channels is to first set up your ebook or print book. Any format really is okay. You need to set it up as a pre-order so that you can then that title can then be grabbed from that platform, such as Amazon and Audible. And by doing that, you are then permitted to release the audiobook format of that book. If you don't put the book into pre-order or have some format already launched that is a text format, so ebook or a print book, then they won't let you submit it as audio first. Audible themselves, as a studio, they can do it, but they don't allow anyone else to do it. In terms of your print and ebook editions, and this is going to be specific to the Amazon platform, there is a large debate about whether it is actually advantageous to do a pre-order or whether that might work against you in terms of your rankings. And I'm not going to go into detail on that, but I can recommend that you go to kindlepreneur.com. Dave Chesson provides a lot of excellent materials and information in his blog about that very issue. And there are lots of other bloggers out there who are very knowledgeable about that and have their opinions about which way to go. So I will leave that to them. And what I'm going to talk about is the audio piece. At the end, I'm going to talk about how you can launch in audio, either as audio only or as audio first, without necessarily putting your book into pre-order. But I'm going to hold off on that just for now and talk about some of the reasons why you might want to consider doing a sequential launch. When you release one format at a time, it provides a great opportunity to reach out to your following multiple times with legitimate news. Now this format is available. And this works no matter which format you roll out in which order, so it doesn't really matter. And you may have some strategy that is going to make sense to you for that. I will say that most often, and I'm also going to give you an exception to this, but most often, your ebook edition is likely to give you the highest royalties. It costs the least to produce, and you can charge enough to where you can actually make a little bit of profit on that ebook. So many recommendations will be that you launch your ebook first, and then your print book, and then your audiobook. By launching audiobook last, you are going to be hopefully accumulating some royalties during the launch of the first books so that you can apply that towards your audiobook production. You may also be gathering some great testimonials or reviews that you could have recorded during your audiobook production process at a minimal or no additional charge to the audiobook itself. And that can be valuable in terms of use as audiograms and the like. No matter which format you release first, you can use those reviews to help stimulate interest for the upcoming format. So if you get great ebook reviews, you can let people know or share some of the pieces from those reviews and also let them know that the print edition is coming out soon, things like that. Okay, now I'm going to share the secret sauce, and that is how you can either release audio only or audio first without releasing a pre-launch or pre-order scenario, and also how to get much higher royalties and also more control over your audiobook royalties and the process of sales when a customer buys your audiobook. And you've actually already heard about it, because during our pause, we told you about Amplify. Amplify is as close as you can get to a direct sale from you to your customer without spending thousands of dollars to have your own app built specifically for you. Because at Pro Audio Voices, that's what we're doing for you, is having that app built that is going to give you much higher royalties, the ability to offer whatever discount codes or promotional pricing that you choose. You also get to choose your own sales price and change it if you would like. You have access to the customer information so you can reach out to them again after they've purchased your audiobook. That is simply not available on any retail platform. Because this is as close as you can get to a direct sale, the sales actually are driven from your website. Now, that's a really good thing. And I'm not recommending this as a replacement for all the other platforms, for being out there on as many platforms as you can possibly be on, because I am a big proponent of doing that. Be out there in all the places where your audience may be. But what Amplify does and is it's more an author-centric kind of approach to things. We'll talk a lot more over the next month and a half as we approach the launch of the Amplify app, but the program itself, the Amplify program, is already available. And for those authors who sign up now before the launch of the app, you'll save money because the setup fees will go up as soon as the app launches, and you will already have a program that works. The reason for doing the app the way that we are with this big upgrade is to make it an even better customer and author experience. So to wrap up, remember that you have a couple different main strategies for launching your different formats. You can either do a coordinated launch where all your formats are ready to do one big launch, or you can do a sequential launch where you release one format at a time, and audio can be at the beginning or at the end of that launch period. To learn more about our Amplify program and what it can do for you, please visit us at proaudiovoices.com, and you'll find it listed in our marketing options. This is a program that every author with an audiobook can benefit from and will want to be a part of. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for joining us for Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. Please take a moment to subscribe at audiobookconnection.com. The podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Learn more at proaudiovoices.com. Again, thanks for being with us, and please join us next week.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.